You're watching the News Hour. A reminder now of our top stories. Egypt's interim government is stepping up its crackdown on the Muslim Brotherhood a day after declaring the group a terrorist organisation. 23 people in Egypt have been arrested for being linked to the Muslim Brotherhood, and the publication of the group's newspaper has stopped. A policeman in Thailand has been killed during anti-government protests in the capital, Bangkok. The government has rejected a call from the Election Commission to postpone an election due in February. And the leaders of Kenya and Ethiopia are in South Sudan to mediate an end to the fighting that was triggered by an apparent coup attempt. A prosecutor says he's been removed from a high-level corruption case which has shaken Turkey's government. Muammar Akas said he was prevented from launching an investigation. He also accused the police of failing to carry out some arrests linked to the case. Graft allegations have forced Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan to replace half of his cabinet following the resignation of 3 senior members. The Interior, Economy and Environment ministers quit their jobs after their sons were arrested in the corruption inquiry. Well, the growing scandal is provoking anger among ordinary Turks. Some rallied in Istanbul overnight demanding that the government resign. Protesters fought with police who used tear gas and water cannon to disperse the crowd. Some people had strong words for their government.
Right now we have 2 choices, either the AK Party or Fethullah Gulen's movement. But we want a 3rd choice. We don't want either of the 2. There's a power struggle going on, we know that, but we don't want to be a part of it.
It means that there's a false shroud of democracy that's covering Turkey right now. I just wish that, although this is a domestic affair, I do wish that there was more international support or pressure, for that matter, calling for Erdogan's government to either make drastic changes or to completely resign.
Well, let's get more on this now from Isil Sariyuce, who is in Istanbul for us. Isil, I remember, it must have been over a week ago now, that the head of the Istanbul police was removed by the government. Now we're hearing that the prosecutor in charge of this operation, this investigation into corruption, has also been removed.
Yes, these are all true. For the last 10 days, since the eruption of the corruption scandal, there is an ongoing battle between the government and the judiciary. As you already mentioned, last week, more than 100 police chiefs have been reassigned. Their locations are changed, and there are now new police chiefs. As you mentioned, there were 3 ministers resigned as a result of the first phase of the corruption scandal. And now another prosecutor wanted to launch the 2nd phase of the corruption probe. The prosecutor ordered the police department to detain, to arrest more business people, some more relatives of the government members, and some more high-level bureaucrats. And what he said, police refused to obey his rule and refused to arrest those people. And then that prosecutor, Muammar Akas, released a written statement saying that by means of police force, judiciary was subject to open pressure, execution of the court orders was obstructed. So it's a very unforeseen case in Turkey, because so far there is no deadlock in the judiciary system before. Right after the announcement of the prosecutor, his chief, Istanbul Chief Prosecutor Turan Çolakkaya, this time was in front of the cameras, and he also had a statement saying that his prosecutor is giving wrong messages and wrong information to the public. So it's kind of a deadlock situation in the judiciary. Some part of the judiciary system is trying to investigate more on the allegations, but some seems to be according to their statements, stopping the investigation. That chief prosecutor had some talks with the Justice Ministry. So we're going to see whether that deadlock will be solved or not in coming days or maybe hours.
And what's your reading of the reaction amongst the Turkish people? We saw there was violence last night on the streets. Is there more of a growing clamour, really, for the Prime Minister Erdogan to resign?
Yes, this is very related to your first question, in fact, because those people who are taking streets were asking the fair justice. They were saying that they want the truth to come out. The protests are going on since the scandal erupted, and the opposition party leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu was saying that they were not going to intervene in the process. They are not going to take streets unless, as long as the government doesn't intervene in the justice process. So we need to wait and see whether there will be some more forces joining the ones in the streets. So far there were some thousands. The protests weren't that massive, but we're going to see how that explanation, that statement of the prosecutor will affect the situation on the streets.
Many thanks, Isil Sariyuce, giving us the latest there from Turkey.